दंडोत बंदन अनेक बार, सर्व कला समरथ, दोलन तेरा खो प्रभु, नानक दे कर हथ। गुर संगत कीनी खालसा, मन मुखी दुहेला। वाह वाह गोबिंद सिंह, आपे गुर चेला। गुर संगत कीनी खालसा, मन मुखी दुहेला। वाह वाह गोबिंद सिंह, आपे गुर चेला। गुरु प्यारी गुरु सवारी साध संगत जी, with the grace of Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, they have allowed for this Smagam to take place. And Sadh Sangat Ji, before the Aramta of this Katha, let us all place our Hazri in this Darbar. Sarvat Sangat, please join me in the blessed Fateh of Tan Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Aakho Ji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sadh Sangat Ji, the type of being Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is, forget 30 minutes Sadh Sangat Ji. If we spent the rest of our lives doing this Katha every single day, going over every single detail, we would still not even capture the slightest bit of greatness of Tan Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And so rather Sadh Sangat Ji, once again we will only look into glimpses of their jeevani. Sadh Sangat Ji, Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, what was the need for them to come into the world? And there's no better way to understand this Sangat Ji than by looking at Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's own Bani, in which they answer this very question. Sangat Ji Maharaj says, Ham eh kaaj jagat mo aaye, Dharam het Gurudev pathaye. Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they say the reason I have come into this world, they say Dharam het Gurudev pathaye, the Guru has instilled me to instill Dharma in this world. And the Sangat Ji, they continue further. Jahan tahan tum dharma bitharo, dusht dokhin pakar pacharo. Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj explains the hukum that was given to them. They say you are to come into this world. And the Sangat Ji, who is the one giving this hukum? Akal Purkh, Waheguru themselves. You are to come into this world, and wherever you go, Sangat Ji, this is what Waheguru tells Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Jahan tahan tum dharma bitharo, spread and instill dharma. Dusht dokhin pakar pacharo, whatever evil force you see in this world, those beings, those forces, because of whom dharma is out of balance, or because of whom dharma is not able to be practiced, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says they were sent in this world to find those very people and put an end to them. And Sangat Ji Maharaj makes it clear once again, Yahi kaj tara ham janmam samajale sadhu sadmanam. They say this is the reason I came into the world. Understand this clearly. The Guru now, 3 times they have confirmed to Sangat Ji the reason they came into this world. Sangat Ji, Guru Maharaj continues further. They tell us, Je Je Bhai Pahal Avatara Aap tin jaap uchara. They say in a very incredible thing here, Sangat Ji. We might think in our minds, the Guru was sent to instill Dharam, but did Dharam not exist on this earth before? Sangat Ji, Sikhi is only 550 years new. And before this date, there are many different faiths that existed on here. And yet, Sangat Ji, Guru is saying, I was sent to instill Dharma. And within this very line, the Guru made it clear, Je Je Bhai Pahal Avatara. Maharaj says, those beings that came before me, Aap and Jaap Uchara. Instead of making people recite the name of Waheguru, instead of making people connect to the primal truth, they instead made people connect to themselves. Sangat. Sangat Ji, the Guru, how is it possible that they were getting this order from Waheguru? Now there's something else very crucial again to understand here. And Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj very simply explained to us what the Guru is. Gur Govind, Govind Guru hai, Nanak Ped na pai. Sangat Ji, the word Govind. Govind here is a name that's used for Waheguru. It means that being that knows what goes inside every being upon this earth. And before this, Sangat Ji, they use the word Gur. Gur Govind. The Guru is Govind. The Guru is Waheguru. Govind, the Guru hai. That primal being is the Guru. Nanak Ped na pai. Sangat Ji, sometimes in just normal Punjabi, we might say, Samjh lagi pai. What is pai? It's a little bit casual. It's like referring to a brother or a sibling. In a similar sense, this is what Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj says. Gur Govind, Govind Guru hai, Nanak Ped na pai. Ped means any difference. Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj says, the Guru is Waheguru, Waheguru is the Guru. They say, Nanak Ped na pai. Oh my brother, oh my sibling, recognize there is no difference between this Guru and Waheguru. Such was the state, Sat Sangat Ji. Now Sangat Ji, when we think of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, a lot of the time our mind goes to the militant aspect. It is quite normal that we think of them more as a soldier and less as a saint. But Sangat Ji, remember, Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj are one. There is but one Guru, Sangat Ji, that manifested 10 different times and now resides in the 11th form in the Guru sanctuary we're sitting in right now. So Sangat Ji, it is very common, we might think that the Khalsa Fauj, the Khalsa army, this was created by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. I'm sure if you went to some people, they might agree with this. But this is in fact not true. The Khalsa Fauj Satsang Ji began from Tan Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And this was finalized by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. This is something very important to understand, Sangat Ji. Now, when we look at the Fauj itself, Sangat Ji, any worldly power that exists today, any great force of any region, they will all have their own army, Sangat Ji. Why is it? Why do you need an army? So you could defend against the invaders, defend against those who come to attack a particular region. Now, Sangat Ji, what about the individuals who decide to attack Dharam? What about the beings who want to attack Dharam, take over Dharam, to put a stop to Dharam? What army is instilled to protect that? And Sangat Ji, that is God's own army, the Khalsa. Tan Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says, Khalsa Akal Purkh ki Fauj, Pragatyo Khalsa Paramatma ki Mauj. Any of these worldly armies, there might have been a general at some point who gathered some soldiers, they went through intense training, and they got prepared to defend their country. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says, Khalsa Akal Purkh ki Fauj. The Khalsa did not have a worldly general. Pragatyo Khalsa Paramatma ki Mauj. The Khalsa came into being in the will, in the hukam of Waheguru Sangat Ji. This is God's own army. And we look into history, the Khalsa was able to eliminate any enemy that stood in their way, even those that were known to be fierce opponents, Sangat Ji. The Khalsa took them apart. Even those forces, Sangat Ji, who had attacked and won over many regions, they hesitated to attack on the Khalsa. Now, what was the reason for this? And Sangat Ji, we will come to this in a moment. We remember the Char Sahibzade Satsang Ji, as this Samagam was dedicated to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the Char Sahibzade, and Samhu, all of the Shaheed. These Sahibzade Sangat Ji, their ages were really not that different from me and you, myself and you right now, Sangat Ji. The Bade Sahibzade may have been a little bit older than you, the Shote may have been a little bit smaller or younger. Now, where was this fearlessness coming from? We see these Bade Sahibzade, they were excited to go into the battlefield, knowing that they were going to attain Shahidi. My brothers and sisters, someone like me might be sitting here with a big Qurban, but might be afraid to sit in a dark room by myself. How does that compare to those who knew they were outnumbered by thousands but still decided to step into the battlefield? Where was this fearlessness, this warrior spirit coming from? And the Sangat Ji, it's not that they entered the battlefield and got hit once and simply fell. They alone, Sangat Ji, the Sahibzade, took out large numbers of opponents before they attained their Shahidi. Sangat Ji, the Chote Sahibzade. Nowadays, you can make kids do anything you want really for them if you give them what they want. Get them to do anything if you give them candy, or let them play on the iPad a little bit longer. Now imagine, Sangat Ji, do you not think the Chote Sahibzade were offered things? They were offered things, Sangat Ji. But what was that fearlessness? What was that spirit that made them say no, knowing that they'll be killed? All they had to do was bow to an emperor. All they had to do was convert, and they could experience things that no other children would be able to experience. But what made them achieve that state, that made them so dred in tarf? This goes back to what is the Khalsa. Sangat Ji, the reason the Khalsa obtained so much victory, the reason the Khalsa had such superior character, is because this was no worldly army. Sangat Ji, in Gurbani, the Guru talks about different types of warriors. When we think of the word warrior, we might always just think about the outside. Maybe someone who can use weapons very well. Maybe someone who can fight very well. This is a warrior. But Sangat Ji, it is the second type of warrior that made the Khalsa into what it is. Because do you not think that the other armies trained? Do you not think they were trying as hard as they could to take out their opponents? Sangat Ji, the Khalsa is another type of warrior, and this is explained to us by Tan Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj within Gurbani. They say, Jin mil mare panch surveer aso kaun balire. Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Satsang Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the fifth form, they say, what is that warrior? Is there such a warrior? What type of warrior? The Guru says, those who defeated the 5 warriors that exist within them. Now Sangat Ji, what warriors exist within us that these beings have defeated? Sangat Ji, Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. Lust, desire, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. Those of you who have been blessed to read Gurbani, you know very well that the Guru brings these up multiple times. Because it is these very things, Satsang Ji, that make us suffer in the cycle of reincarnation. Just away from that, it is these things that cause our suffering itself. It is because of these things we are dukhi in our lives, and we cannot find peace. Now the Guru is saying, is there such a warrior who has defeated these 5? My brothers and sisters, the Khalsa were not just Sipahi. They were Sant Sipahi. And who is a Sant? Who is a saint, Sangat Ji? A saint is the one who has defeated those 5 within him. The soldier is the one who can defeat enemies on the outside. The saint is the one who can defeat those enemies within. And as Sangat Ji, it is the Khalsa that is both type of warriors. When you defeat these 5 within you, Sangat Ji, it does not matter if there are 10,000 enemies, if there are 100,000 enemies here ready to go. You have achieved such a avastha, such a state, such a union with that Waheguru, that you become absolutely fearless, behe-mohtaj, and non-dependent on anything. Nirpau jape sagal pau mite. When you do the jap of the being that is fearless, Sangat Ji, it is very common trend nowadays. If you look at spirituality in the modern world, there's a lot of talk about the law of attraction. I'm sure many of you have heard about this. Now, what are they saying? What is the law of attraction? You will become what you constantly meditate upon, if we may use that word. You will become the things that you are consuming all the time. Wherever your focus goes, Sangat Ji, that is what you will become. And this is not just some philosophy, Sangat Ji. This is confirmed in fact in Gurbani as well. Sangat Ji, whatever we choose to think about, there is a Gurmukh out there, Satsang Ji. His name is Bhai Satpal Singh Ji. And he said something very beautiful. He said all of us are actually meditating all the time. We're actually doing Simran all the time already. But it is not Waheguru. If we did the Simran Waheguru all the time, Sangat Ji, half of us would be Brahmgyani sitting in this darbar right now. We are doing Simran of something else. We are doing Simran of the worldly things we need to do. We're doing Simran of the regrets we have in the past. We're doing the Simran of the desires we have in the future. What is the Simran? When you're constantly thinking about these things over and over and over again. And so, Sangat Ji, if you think about very anxiety-filled circumstances all the time, you will be an anxious person. If you did something wrong and you continue to replay that story over and over, you will feel that regret over and over. You will become a regretful person. If you constantly think in an optimistic way, you'll have that energy in every situation, Sangat Ji. In this sense, when we do the Simran of Waheguru, what do you think happens? Sangat Ji, what do you think happens when we start doing the Simran of Waheguru? We start turning into the very form of Waheguru. Through Simran Sangat Ji, beings begin to recognize what they truly are. When that parda, the curtain of Homa, is removed, and we understand we are more than just this body, Sangat Ji, we elevate our level of consciousness, there is much clarity that comes into our lives. So Sangat Ji, coming back, Nirapao Japa Sagalapao Mita. If you start doing the Simran of the being that is beyond fear, we read it every single day in Japji Sahib Sangat Ji, Nirapao, the being that is without fear. Sangat Ji, that very same quality will begin to get instilled within you. So now when we think about the Vadde Sahibzade, the Shote Sahibzade, where was this fearlessness coming from, this spirit coming from Sangat Ji? Because they were not connected to some worldly power, they were connected to the supreme power, the supreme Waheguru. Sangat Ji, the Shote Sahibzade, they could have gotten everything, but they chose to be bricked until they can barely breathe. And then Sangat Ji, they were laid upon the ground. The beings who were going to do this task, they sat upon them, grabbed them by the heads and cut their necks out, Sangat Ji. Now again, if we think about this today, if someone asked you today, are you ready to die? Would you ever walk into a situation knowing someone's going to grab you from the throat and cut you? You will die. How many people could actually go into such a situation? And Sangat Ji, let me make it clear. I say this to myself at the same time. Don't think I'm sitting here as some Mahampurukh doing these bhajan to you. In fact, I seek the charantud, the dust of the feet of such Gurmukhs who have done such things, Saz Sangat Ji, these are not easy things to do. But what we must take away is that we want to bring these characteristics into our own Jivan. We want to learn from this history, Sangat Ji, not just to hear it because it's pleasing to our ears. We can do this Samagam every year, tell you the same history again and again. But the point is, Sangat Ji, if there's actually change that comes into your life, if we keep those same habits today, and the next year comes, we hear it again, it sounds good to our ears, but we really didn't achieve anything, Sangat Ji. They set that example of where we need to be today. And it is very clear, it is right in our face, Sangat Ji, all the dubda we see in our panth. It can all be cleared if we simply connect to our Guru. It is that simple. If we simply remember our history, learn from our history, Sangat Ji, if we read Gurbani and implement it within our lives, that itself will take us so far. One must first change themselves within to make a difference outside. So Satsang Ji, let us try in our lives to instill these warrior aspects. The Khalsa is both warriors, is not one. If I put on a big kirpan today, maybe I can use it very well as well. But if I'm still subject to anger, if I can still fall in ego, Sangat Ji, that person will not be a great warrior as the one who has defeated his own ego, defeated her own ego. What does Bhai Kabir Ji? Look at how amazing this is, Sangat Ji. We mentioned earlier that when we think of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, we usually think of the soldier aspect. But then we talked about how the Guru is the form of Waheguru themselves. Now opposingly, when we talk about someone like Bhai Kabir Ji, we usually think of them as a very saintly person, as a being who would sit down, do a lot of simran, and this is not wrong, but let us look at the one pankti from their Bani. Sura so pehchani hai, jo lare deen ke het, purja purja kat mare, kabhu na chhad khet. Satsang Ji, Bhai Kabir Ji, Sura so pehchaniye, that being is recognized as a warrior, jo lare deen ke het, the being that fights to instill dharma. Purja purja kat mare, that being might be cut piece by piece in the battlefield. Kabhu na chhade khet, but they never leave the battlefield. Satsang Ji, we talked about how the Khalsa was not started by Guru Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. This pankti by Bhai Kabir Ji, Kaho Kabir jan Bhai Khalse, Prem Bhakt Jeh Jani. Bhai Kabir Ji says, I have become a Khalsa as well. A lot of us might have not thought of this. Bhai Kabir Ji was Khalsa as well. It is right there in their Bani. Kaho Kabir jan Bhai Khalse, Prem Bhakt Jeh Jani. Those beings who have recognized the loving devotion of Waheguru have achieved the state of Khas. So Sangat Ji, once again, in 30 minutes, we cannot encapture the supreme greatness, but let this katha at least instill a desire, a shank, a mansha, to connect more to our itihas, to our history, connect more to Gurbani, and let us try to not just listen to please our ears, but to bring a change within our lives. Okay? You have all to listen with much love and much patience. Sarbat Sangat da bahut dhanwad, जिन्होंने बहुत ही प्रेम ते एकाग्रता नाल श्रवण किया। ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਮੀ ਇਨ ਦ ਬਲੈਸਡ ਫਤਿਹ ਆਫ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ। ਆਖੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।